With another MCU film, it's just all back and forth. I'm just glad I got to saw this movie with my dad. I'm a simple guy. I like going to see movies with my dad. Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Cam, here with my brief, spoiler-free thoughts on Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. This was directed by Peyton Reed. This is the third standalone Ant-Man film and the latest in the seemingly never-ending MCU. The Ant-Man is back, reprised by Paul Rudd. This time around, life is going surprisingly well. He's written a book. Things are going sort of well with him and his daughter, Cassie. He's still in love with Hope Van Dyne. All seems good. Until some ghosts from Janet Van Dyne's past come calling, and the entire Ant family ends up in the quantum realm. Basically, the Brendan Fraser journey to the center of the Earth without Brendan Fraser or Josh Hutcherson. The realm is ruled by Kang the Conqueror, played by Jonathan Majors. He's a really bad dude who has an axe to grind because he was exiled here and he didn't take it too well. And it's up to the Ant family to stop him from leaving. I've been a bit of a defender of the Ant-Man films. I think that they're very nice palate cleansers, especially with their placement in release order for the MCU. The first Ant-Man film came out directly after Avengers: Age of Ultron, a movie where a robot literally lifted a nearby Russian country out of the Earth and intended to use it as a meteorite to destroy the Earth. Ant-Man being very toned down, and really the only violent thing being someone being used as a human ping pong into a bug zapper, and a fight on a Thomas the Tank Engine track. And then there was Ant-Man and the Wasp, which was the first MCU movie after a little movie called Avengers: Infinity War, where half the universe was turned to dust, quite literally. And that movie was a very fun heist kind of movie. And people were like, really? First movie after Infinity War? That's what we get? Despite the fact that that movie was a let me up and I appreciated it. Long story short, I have rushed to the defense of Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp on multiple occasions, and I was excited for Quantumania. All the trailers looked pretty good, and so I was hoping for the best. And while overall I had a fun time with this movie, this is definitely a mixed bag. First and foremost, the one thing that has literally dominated the discourse coming out of this movie has been Jonathan Majors as Kang, and he lives up to the hype. Not only is Jonathan Majors just his presence just makes the role work, but his performance is really good also. The movie does a great job of building up Kang and making him like a real serious threat. There's a bit, and I'm gonna do a spoiler-filled video, bit of a heads up, so that'll be hashed out more in that video, but it's told very well just how he got into this situation, why he's bitter, especially towards Janet, and just how he's basically become the monster that we see in the film. It's all very well done. Anything Kang related in this movie, I thought was handled with just the greatest amount of care. Paul Rudd was predictably really good as Ant-Man. I don't know how many times we're going to see him as Ant-Man going forward, so if this is the last standalone movie, I'm glad that this was the one that he got because he did a really good job. His daughter, Cassie, I thought they had good chemistry with each other. Michelle Pfeiffer and Michael Douglas aren't on screen super much. Michelle Pfeiffer has more to do than Michael Douglas does, but they both do a very good job. And, I mean, it's Michelle Pfeiffer and Michael Douglas. They can do whatever they want at this point. And overall, the ending I liked for the most part. And overall, like I said, the movie was fun. However, this is definitely a mixed bag, and there's some parts I definitely did not like. Chief among them being the CGI. Now, let me just say that effects work is incredibly hard. I understand this. And so, and especially coming out recently that Marvel animators and people who worked in the visual effects department were treated the best. So please understand that I'm not coming at this harshly, but some of the effects were not great, especially on one character, MODOK, and more on that in the spoiler-filled video. But everything involving MODOK, from the CG to just where they took the character, I did not like it. That was the low point of the movie. Whenever MODOK was on screen, I was just pleading with the movie whenever MODOK was on screen. And the other big negative is the humor, which has become a very big talking point in anti-MCU discourse. How these movies have just become way too silly. And I think while Thor: Love and Thunder was not great, especially considering the fact that the movie turned Thor into kind of a putz who was more concerned with just being affable rather than badass. I think the humor in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania was more toned down, and I actually laughed a couple of times intentionally, so there is that. However, there were definitely a few jokes where I was just rolling my eyes. Yes, the MODOK stuff, like I mentioned, but there were a couple of jokes, especially when Bill Murray's on screen, and it's not Bill Murray's fault. I thought that his couple of scenes were good, but I thought the material they gave him and what is implied with between him and Janet, it was not great. On top of that, there's a joke involving this, I'm going to call him a gummy worm that sprouted arms and legs. Basically, there's a joke between him and Ant-Man involving holes. You will know it when you see it. Again, it's nowhere near as bad as Thor: Love and Thunder, but I'm sorry. The MCU really only has one gear when it comes to humor, snark. And when it's used in the wrong context, it just kills the movie every time. But at the end of the day, I did have a fun time with this, and I am going to give it a good rating. Overall, I did have some problems with it, but on the whole, I think the mission was to establish Kang in the mainline MCU, and I think the job was done. I'm looking forward to see what they do with this character next, and judging from the end credits scene, they're intending to make him the next big villain of the territory, so I'm looking forward to that. But what did you all think of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania? Leave your thoughts in the comments section below. I'd love to read what you have to say. And stay tuned for this coming Monday when I will have up my spoiler-filled review, and I will be having on a special guest to talk about it, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And if you like this video, please be sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below. And if you like this video and you want to see more like it, hit the subscribe button and click the bell to allow notifications. That way, when a new video drops, you'll be the first to know about it. My name is Ryan Cam, and I'll see you in the next one.